Have you ever felt like just another number? In a world with 8 billion people, it's so easy to feel lost in the crowd. I mean, we've got social media profiles with follower counts, employee numbers at work, and customer IDs for pretty much every service we use. We're just one face in a sea of faces, one car in an endless line of traffic, one voice in a huge blast of digital noise. The world today can really make you feel completely anonymous. You can interact with thousands of people online without ever feeling like someone truly sees you, without being known. We find ourselves scrolling through the highlight reels of everyone else's lives, and the quiet, normal reality of our own can start to feel incredibly small, incredibly unseen, and that can leave a real ache in your soul, a deep longing to be known. Not just recognized, but truly, deeply, and personally known. But what if the answer to that ache isn't about getting more followers or being noticed by the world? What if it's about waking up to a reality that's been true all along? There's a promise, a statement that cuts right through all the noise and anonymity, like a shepherd's call in the morning fog. It's a wake-up call to a truth that can change your life. The answer to this deep feeling of being unknown is found in the simple, but incredibly profound words of Jesus in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 14. He says, "I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me." Just let those words sink in for a second. This isn't some casual remark. This is one of the great I am statements where Jesus is revealing his divine nature. He's not just a shepherd, he is the good shepherd. And the very first thing he says to define who he is about knowing you. Not his power, not his authority, but his intimate, personal knowledge of you. This verse is the complete opposite of the story the world tells you, the one that makes you feel like a statistic. This verse says you are not anonymous. You're not just another face in the crowd. You are known, you are seen, you are heard. This is the foundation for our whole journey today, understanding what it really means to be known by the Good Shepherd. To really get the depth of what Jesus is saying, we need to step back into his world for a minute. In the ancient Near East, being a shepherd wasn't just a job. It was a way of life built on relationship. A shepherd's flock was his entire life. He spent every single day with them, leading them to good pastures and fresh water, and protecting them from predators. Back then, it was common for a few shepherds to keep their flocks together overnight in one big enclosure, called a sheepfold, to keep them safe. Now, picture the scene at sunrise. The sheepfold is packed with hundreds, maybe thousands of sheep from different flocks, all mixed together. A hired hand would have no idea which sheep belonged to which shepherd. To anyone else, it's just a chaotic sea of wool. But then a shepherd walks up to the gate. He doesn't go in and start trying to physically sort them out. He just stands at the entrance and lets out his own unique, personal call. And then something amazing happens. Out of that huge mass of sheep, only certain ones lift their heads. They recognize that voice. It's their shepherd. They start to move, separating themselves from all the others, and follow the sound they trust, the voice they know. Jesus talks about this in John 10:3, saying, "He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out." This wasn't some generic call to the flock. It was a personal invitation. The shepherd knew each and every sheep, its personality, its little quirks, its unique identity. He had a name for each one. This is the picture Jesus wants us to have in our minds. He isn't just shouting into the void hoping somebody listens. He is calling you specifically, by name. He knows you with that exact same intimate, personal, and loving familiarity. You are not lost in the pen. His voice is meant specifically for your ears. So what does it mean for us, right here and now, to be known by this Good Shepherd? It's a reality that changes everything about how we see ourselves and our place in the world. First, to be known by Jesus is to be infinitely valued. He doesn't just know facts about you, like some kind of database. His knowledge is relational. It's a knowledge born out of perfect love. Think about that for a moment. Jesus knows everything about you. He knows your past, your secret fears, the shames you hide, and the thoughts you've never said out loud. He knows you better than you know yourself. And after seeing all of that, he doesn't walk away. He doesn't disqualify you. Instead, he calls you his own and he loves you. That knowledge gives you an unshakable worth that doesn't depend on your performance, your successes, or your failures. Your value is rooted in the simple fact that you are known and loved by your Creator. Second, to be known by Jesus is to be completely secure. The shepherd in Jesus' time was the protector of the flock. He'd fight off wolves and lions, putting his own life on the line. But Jesus goes even further. In John 10:11 he says, "The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep." This wasn't some accident that happened on the job. It was his very purpose. He willingly stood between us and our greatest threat, sin and death, and took the full impact of it on himself. He laid down his life for you. This sacrificial love is the ultimate proof of your security. As he says later in the chapter, no one can snatch his sheep out of his hand or out of his Father's hand. Your life is held securely by the one who defeated death just to save you. And third, to be known by Jesus is to have a guide you can always count on. The shepherd leads the sheep. He doesn't drive them from behind. He goes out in front of them, and they follow because they trust him. He leads them to green pastures and quiet waters, to places of rest and nourishment. In our own lives, this means we have a guide who knows the path ahead. When we feel lost, confused, or just aren't sure which way to go, we're not left to figure it out all on our own. We have a shepherd whose voice we can learn to recognize through prayer, through his word, and through the gentle leading of his Spirit. He guides us every day, giving us comfort, direction, and the promise that we are never, ever walking alone. Now, this deeply personal relationship isn't where the story ends. In fact, it's the beginning of something so much bigger. Right after explaining this intimate connection, Jesus expands the vision. In John 10:16, he says, "I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd." At the time, Jesus was speaking mainly to a Jewish audience who he called his sheep pen. The other sheep he was talking about were the Gentiles, people from every other nation, tribe, and tongue on earth. This was a radical, world-changing thing to say. The Good Shepherd's mission wasn't just for one group of people. It was to bring together a diverse, global family under his care. Notice he says there will be one flock, not one fold. This isn't about creating one single giant institution. The beauty of the flock is in its diversity. It's made up of people from every culture, every background, every language, all united by one thing. They listen to the voice of the same shepherd. What this means is that when you wake up to the reality that you are personally known by Jesus, you also wake up to the fact that you're part of a massive worldwide family. The person across the globe praying in a different language, the believer in your own city who looks and lives differently than you do, they're part of your flock. That feeling of being unknown is not only solved by a personal relationship with Christ, but it's also replaced by a sense of belonging to a global community. We are all his sheep, known by the same shepherd, and connected to each other through him. Let's just take a moment to let these truths sink deep into our hearts. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and join me in a moment of prayer. Good Shepherd Jesus, I come to you right now. I've so often felt anonymous, like just another face in the crowd, totally unseen and unknown. But your word tells me that's not the real story. You say that you know me. You know my name. Thank you for seeing all of me, for knowing my deepest struggles and my greatest joys. Thank you for loving me not in spite of what you know, but because of it. Thank you for valuing me and for calling me your own. I'll be honest, I often listen to other voices, the voice of fear, the voice of not being good enough, the voice of the world. Help me tune my ears to your voice and your voice alone. Help me to trust where you lead, to find my security not in my own strength, but in your sacrificial love and in the safety of your hand. And Lord, open my eyes to see the rest of your flock. Help me to love the brothers and sisters you've placed all around me, both near and far. Break down any walls of prejudice or division in my heart, and unite me in spirit with the global family that you're gathering together. I want to be part of the one flock, following the one shepherd. Thank you for being my good shepherd. I place my life in your hands today. Amen. The reality of John 10:14 is a truth you can live in every single day. It's the truth you can wake up to each morning. You are not a number. You are not an accident. You are not anonymous. You are a cherished, valued, and beloved sheep of the Good Shepherd, who knows you by name. You have a protector, a provider, and a guide, and you have a family that spans the entire globe. This is the good news that changes everything. It's the wake-up call to a life filled with purpose, security, and belonging. If this message touched your heart today, and you see yourself as part of this global family, I want you to affirm this truth. Go to the comments section and type, "I am known." Let's fill the comments with that powerful declaration, reminding ourselves and encouraging each other that we belong to the Good Shepherd. Thanks for waking up with us today. Go in peace knowing you are deeply and completely known.